Okay. Only bro, let me just do it real quick. I'll put the question in the vlog on the right side, and on the left side we are going to put exclamation row where we are going to practice this question. So we are starting off with Bitly. Yes, you always start with array whenever you do DSA, and you always start with Bitly if you are practicing system design. Huh. This is how it goes. Okay, so let me tell you the format that we are going to use. The first thing we are going to do is we are going to like go for the requirement, and we will write something here for the requirement part. Basically, we will try to solve it on our own without reading any of the content. Then I think we should go for this blog reading, and then we can watch the tutorial of it, where this the guy from the Hello Interview explains everything, right? So we can go in that way, or what? Or let us start. Let's just start with it instead of just talking about it. What the fuck? Bitly, Bitly, and what is Bitly? Wait, what the fuck? Bitly is a URL sorter service that convert long URL into a short URL, manageable links. It also provides analytic for shorten URL. Okay, so what we are going to build is Bitly. What Bitly is basically URL shortener. We can say it's a URL shortener where we can create an application or a service in which a user will be able to paste the long and bulky URL, and it will give us short and sweet URL so that it will be easier to paste it somewhere. For example, in Twitter or formal Twitter currently X have some word limits. If you do not have the premium, it has the word limit. You can only write a few of the words. So it is very useful on that part. It won't take much of a word or letter or a space, you can say, to post it, right? Hmm. Okay. Uh-huh. URL shortener. Let's start with the requirement. We are going to have two sort of requirement. First is the functional requirement, and then we are going to uh, get clarity on this non-functional requirement. Functional. Then we are going to wow the function requirement. Okay, what the functional requirement is? What we can say is it's a basic thing that our system is able to do. For example, we can call it as a user should be able to do that. User should be, or we can say functional requirement as user should be. User should be like you should be able to paste URL, you should be able to log in, you should be able to log out, you should be able to get the new URL. And non-functional requirement is like system should be. System should be it's like system should be reliable, system should be fault tolerant, system should be like scalable, sort of that. Okay. So if we start with functional requirement, what we are going to have is user should be able to uh, paste link and get your URL out of it, right? And the second thing, user should be able to provide some custom URL. We can have that as well. Custom URL, we can try, but it's not necessary, I guess. And what more? A user should be able to paste link and get short URL. That's all right. Or we can have, you should be able to see the analytics. Let's write this down as well. Hmm. Is there any more functional requirement that we should consider in? That's it, right? Hmm. Non-functional requirement. What could be a non-functional requirement for this chat? What could be the non-functional requirement for this? Aha. System should be scalable. Yeah, system should be scalable. Let me see what he have written. Funny. Oh, systems should be scalable to 1 billion URLs. Right. And here, ensure uniqueness. You uniqueness of URL or low latency redirection. Low latency redirection. Okay. It should be scalable to 1 billion URL and URL should be unique and the latency should be low. Whenever the user click on a short URL, he should be redirected on the original URL in no time. Okay. And we're going to give preference to aware. We're going to give availability much more preference than consistency. What do you mean by availability more inconsistency? If a user creates a URL, right, it might take a few seconds like to redirect it, but huh, that I mean the okay. First, क्या कर रहा है कॉन्फ्रेंस कौन है कॉन्फ्रेंस पे पांडे हेलो तीसरा कौन है कौन सौरभ तो कौन है फिर ओह नमस्ते नमस्ते अभी जी बता करण मैं तो वही हूँ भाई, कहाँ जाऊँ, कहाँ रहूंगा मैं। बैंगलोर में भाई, सतना कहाँ है, सतना से कब का चला गया मैं। हम्म, कोशिश कर रहा हूँ यार, लेकिन अभी थोड़ा सा ऊपर नहीं सीन चला, सीन शॉर्ट हो जाएगा तुरंत आ जाऊंगा मैं। सीन थोड़ा सा। भाई मैं कोशिश let's let's get back to the work. So we have defined the functional requirement and we have defined this non-functional requirement. Let us uh, let's define this the model, the core entities. Let's define the core entities around which our model will revolve. Entities. Uh, entities. Dot URL. Okay, at least we need two entities. One is going to be URL. URL. What more do we need? And third thing is a user of call. These are entities, and then we are going to define this endpoint. Endpoint, the APIs basically. A first endpoint can be this post URL. Okay, the first is going to be the post type, post slash URL. The data we are going to send is this. For this validation, we can have this authentication. We can have in header. We can have this send token or maybe JWT. Okay, and inside this, the first is going to be a long URL. That will be something, and then we can have custom a custom alias if any, custom alias if there is any, and then expiration date. The first endpoint is going to be this. Then second is going to be uh, okay, and it will return this short URL. I just forgot to write it. It is going to return this short URL. That will be something whatever this shortly and then this some random letters. Okay. Then we are going to have one get endpoint that is going to be one get endpoint and the short short URL or shortcut whatever you can say. And we can have the status code 302 for the redirection because we need to save data in our database. Sorry, we need the routing through our server so that we can keep some analytics to the user. That's why we are going to use HTTP 302 for the redirection. 302 redirection means it's a temporary redirection, and if you use 301, that is going to be permanent redirection. That means whenever the user click on a short URL and we are using 301, it is not going to hit our server and it is directly going to move to this permanent URL, the original URL, and 302 will first hit our server, then it is going to redirect this original server. Does that make sense? Okay, let's start with the designing part now. I already, I don't know how much time. So, we are going to have one client. For initially, we are going to have one server, and then we are going to have a DB. Make sense? Double head arrow. How do I put this double arrow arrowhead? Huh? Damn, I completely forgot of this shit. Oh, of course. This is how. Then we are going to have an arrowhead here. So this is going to be our client. Then this is our going to be server. This is database. Okay. So here, post slash URL get slash URL. What our server will do is the task of our server is like one is generate URL. Second is save to the table. And DB is going to save. DB is going to have a table name URL or URLs. In this, we are going to have what URL, URL, created by, and that should be enough, right? Short URL created add and created by, and expiration date can also be there. Also be there, right? Uh, Working in reverse. Okay, let me zoom it out. Created by expiration, creation time, expiration time. The same. It's the same. It's the same. It's the same. You have to press H. Oh. We have this right. Shift and scroll. That should work. Okay. So the client, the user will enter the client application. Like it can be our web browser on or the application, or the primary server will be responsible for generating the URL, short URL from the long URL, and saving to a DB, right? And database will be responsible for saving the URL or the data. So how it is going to work is like client client will have some URL of his choice that he or she want to shorten it. He will send a request with that URL, and it will hit our server, and our server will generate the short URL. Okay, and how it going to how is it going to generate the short URL? We can have few ways to generate short URL. Okay, let's go down and Okay, here can be a here we can ask one question like, what should be length of our short URL? Right. We can generate so we can generate a URL of certain length, like 6, 7, 8 maybe, depending upon our requirement. So the first thing what we can do is, as soon as the client sends some request to get his URL shortened, we can check like if it if there is already a shorter URL for that long URL. If there is, then we can just return that URL itself. Or if there is not, then we need to create one, right? And how do we create it? This is going to our right, and down we are going to have the rate one. And three, how short URL will be generated? How short URL will be generated? How short URL? We can run a background job particularly to delete expired row from the database, or just keep them with their expiration date. More importantly, we should cache detail to match with the user browser. The client will automatically follow the redirect to the original long URL, and user will never even know that a redirection happened. Okay, बाप रे. I'm being lazy. I'm being lazy. I'm being lazy. I'll be honest. I'm being lazy. Okay. So for this, what we can have here is the first option is like what we can do is we can create some sort of a hash function that will generate one short URL. Right. Create some entropy randomness to try to ensure that our code are uniquely. We could try a random number generator or a hash function using a random number generator to create short code involving generating a random number. Each time a new URL is shortened, the random number serves as the unique identifier of the URL. We can use the common random number generator function like JavaScript, uh, more robust cryptographic random number generator for increase unpredictability. Okay, one more thing. We do not want any predictability in our URL generator. Otherwise, uh, someone with bad intention can harm our server. Like okay, so it does not provide enough entropy to ensure that our code are unique. So instead, we could use a hash function like SHA to persist to generate a new fixed size hash code. Hash function like take an input and return a deterministic fixed size string of character. Pure hash function are deterministic. The same long URL always maps to the same shortened code without needing to query the database. This may be desirable application or not. If you need multiple code per URL or want to prevent recursivity of the letter case, add a secret salt. ठीक है, we can figure out the computer. Further, and then there is still a chance of getting it in duplicate short URL as a number of short URL. Okay, with a code space of size as code already in use. The probability and which means generating short code. Trade-off unique shortened efficiency. Okay, okay, default optimize. Yes, unique counter with the base 62 encoding. Hmm. Okay, the next step is like we can have an increment counter that counts every time the user create a new URL, new short URL, and we can hash that because to some how can we ensure that data is offered when dealing with a large database also that be crucial for a smooth single pair of short and Something this can be incredibly slow, especially as a number of URL grows in a million. Add an index. Ha ha ha. Oh, you can implement an in-memory cache or maybe go for a CDN. Write along and the read to be along, and we are going to have a global counter that will provide some of the keys to the some server, some keys to the another server. If we even lose some keys, we do not care.